everyone. Welcome to episode 136 of Masters of the Forge. We're almost coming up on our year anniversary here. I think it's 5 years.
Wait, hold on. What year is this?
2020, I think?
Yeah, it's 2020. No, you guys started in 2014.
So is this the 6th year?
Yeah.
Is that how you do the math?
Whatever. It's all timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, timey-wimey?
Wimey. There's an M in there instead of an N. But if you want to add the N, I don't care. It's up to you.
Episode 1 was posted on April 16th, 2014.
Yeah.
So, is that how you subtract 2020 from 2014, and that's the number of years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we missed the 5-year mark. That's fine. We could have had a 5-year party. It's all good. We're just counting in base 12.
Well, also around this time is whenever y'all were, wasn't Wendy in the hospital already?
Oh, that's a really good point. There was no...
See, I have points sometimes, and they are even, decent sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty good point.
All right, hooray for me. Self-high five. Thank you. All right, cool.
Did we both just high five ourselves?
Yes, we did.
I gave you a high five using my two hands.
All right, same here. All right, that's...
Cool. So does that make it a double high five, which is kind of dorky?
Hey, man, it's... Sure, man, whatever. A self-double high five. Rad.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. So, anyways, this is episode 136.
Yes, and I'm Jason, and with me is my lovely co-host Adam.
Oh, hey guys. Hey.
Because we forgot to do that.
Hey. So we're gonna launch. Oh, first of all, I need to apologize for the F-bombs in the last episode. I couldn't contain myself.
And I didn't catch them, and I'm sorry.
I often can't contain myself. Phrasing. Anyways, hobby progress.
Okay.
So last week I forgot to talk about that character I painted for my Emperor's Children, the Master of Possessions. Yeah. I built that a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
I kit-bashed him and gave him a belly, like a distended pregnant belly with a demon poking out of it. He's pretty gross. Yeah, I got at least one comment of thanks. I hate it. So honestly,
I'd pay for that.
I think I consider that a victory.
Yeah,
personally. So I did that. I also finished the Treeman for my Halfling team, the one I was talking about. How I basically got it through common law. But I really, even with the Treeman, I'm only at about 750,000 gold pieces. And a small team in Blood Bowl is 1 million gold. So I don't know what... I need to figure out how Halfling players, or Halfling coaches, create their teams. Do they just buy, 100 billion rerolls? Because you can buy rerolls for 10,000 GP, but that's still
maybe
that's a lot of rerolls.
I mean, I have no idea about Blood Bowl. I'm so clueless. I'm not even dangerous. How about
rerolls
that?
Are super important because the way the turns work, your turn is over when you fail to do something. Oh, so
they may actually go through and dump.
Yeah, they
turn 50 in there.
Yeah, they call that a turnover. You just stop. You have to stop doing what you're doing, and your opponent gets to go and start taking their turn. Sometimes you get really lucky and fail the first thing you try to do, and you're like, okay, well, I guess that's over. So rerolls are pretty important. So maybe that's how halfling coaches do it. Yeah, because halflings are so terrible. That maybe it's better to be lucky than good and just buy a bunch of rerolls.
Well, I'm not going to make any statement about that. I want to leave that one alone.
I used a bunch of weathering powders on his beard and stuff, and I put actual tree flock for his hair.
Oh, nice.
So he basically just looks like a big tree. He's great.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the beard is sculpted on the model, and the leaves are flock, so it's a little weird. That looks very different, but that's fine.
Right.
That's fine.
Well, you'd go through and extend the beard out, maybe. I don't know.
I could put flock for the beard instead. Yeah. It might look better. It might look worse. I don't know. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Yeah. I'm continuing work on Jeff's ruins and walls. I got base coats on everything, and it's currently outgassing under the fan hood over my oven.
Yeah.
So just waiting for that to just cure and be done. Mm-hmm. But I really needed to focus on Quinn's birthday.
Yeah,
stuff.
That does need to happen. It's
in a couple weeks, and I still haven't done the photo booth that I'm doing. So, but expect that stuff to pop up in my Facebook and Twitter feed and over on Instagram and stuff, because it'll be really cute. After that, though, in kind of at the same time as that, I've been working on all the stuff I need to do for Adepticon ahead of time.
Yeah, so, good idea.
I rebased the Death Killer War Trike, which had, for some reason, I used the wrong paint to attach the sand.
Okay.
And basically, the way I do those orc bases is I have like a certain color that I use, and then I put sand over it, and I don't even paint the sand.
Oh, okay.
It just stays sand colored because it's like a desert type situation, like a rocky desert. So I had used a reddish color, so it really stood out from all the others, which you don't want with bases.
Right.
I also rebased 3-knob bikers to the new bike bases, but those are the only ones I had. So I ordered some more 42. But I'm sorry, God. Sorry, everybody. It's late, and I actually haven't had coffee or alcohol. It's just terrible. I'm the only one here with the baby, so I have to stay straight. Anyways, what was I saying?
No booze.
Oh, oval bases.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Some are 45, some are 42.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there's that change. Okay, yeah.
So that's weird. So I ordered some 42s. I also ordered my fancy Adepticon name tag from Arky Dan over
I need to do that.
Yeah, you should do that, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want Carl to know what my real name is.
Jason Motive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I ordered one from him, and he dropped it off. He's the Tectonic Craft Studios, and he'll be at Adepticon, but he does pre-order name tags every year for the big tournaments. Mm-hmm. So he'll take like the logo and everything, and he won't do anything copyright infringing, but it's like, Adepticon MMXX on it, and he'll burn your name into it, and you can paint it ahead of time, or you can pick it up at Adepticon if you'd like. Just wear it as is, or just go to the painting craft circle over there and paint it. Someone will loan you paints.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I can't wait to get that, and I'll paint that up. I painted the last Grunstock gun hauler that I had. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a really quick scheme, but it turns out pretty good because they're piratey, so they have a lot of like weathering, and it doesn't. I don't have to be precious about the neatness of it.
Yeah.
But I think it turns out okay, because the stuff that is neat is easy. Like the golds are clean, but gold isn't hard. So I did that, and those guys are now magnetized to it. All my Caradron are finished for Adepticon.
Oh, awesome!
Which is great. Yeah, I was really happy with it. I did drop it, and it exploded. The base busted, or like the pin, like the post for the base broke.
Ow. Okay.
and then it broke off the base, and then a bunch of stuff busted on it. I had to rebuild part of it. It was really rough. Yeah. But we got her done and ready to go. I can't wait to try it out in my games. I think it'll be a little weird because it's like, demagnetizing the guys. I actually painted the bottom of their feet because I didn't want them to be on their bases as they were hanging from the gun hauler, right? Like you don't want them to have bases. So they're magnetized to the bases and magnetized to the ship.
Okay, cool. That does sound pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Thanks. So on deck, I have the third Megatrack Scrapjet. I actually used it in a game unpainted the other day. I feel dirty.
Right? Right?
Gross.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Connor. So that's the next thing I want to paint. I do need to paint the Orc Terrain I have so I can scatter it on my display board for the friendly.
Okay.
And I still have to repaint the 7 bikes and the 3 knob bikers with blue instead of red. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I should do a display board for the carriage run. I don't have an event I'm taking it to.
Right.
It's a lot of work. I think I should skip it and save it for another time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, your orcs, you have a display base for, and those are that's who you take typically. So, I mean, if they become like your second army or the army you always take to Sigmar stuff, then maybe, yeah.
Like eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Although the nice thing is you could create like an air board.
Yes.
Because almost all your stuff is flying, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about creating a scrap pile, like a giant a mountain of scrap, and the dwarfs are docked at this mountain, and they're mining stuff out of the mountain.
Okay, yeah, you could actually do that. Have kind of a low profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that yet. So okay. I did a little sidetrack thing. I painted the kangaroo APC.
Yeah, I saw that. Awesome.
I got it done in like 3 or 4 hours. It was a quick job. Okay. I didn't do any like checks or dags or arrows. Yeah. I didn't do any freehand on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm strapped for time here, so I got that done for like 1 hour a night. Was doing a challenge with the kangaroo, so it was really cool. I was glad that Victoria Lamb and their team over there decided to do that fundraiser. What a great cause. Yeah. So after Adepticon, we're doing a siege game for Age of Sigmar. I want to rebase my dorks. So I did a few test models because the red bases with the red skin, it just doesn't look good.
Right, it's too much. There's not enough contrast.
It's fun to have the red bases, but it would have been better if I had done real demons instead of orc demons. I would have painted the demons black instead of red, and then that would have contrasted with the blood bases really well. That's true, yeah. But as it stands, red on red does not work. And I can't I couldn't have painted the orc demons black because then people would be confused as to what they are. Yeah, that's very true. It's really important when you're doing counts as armies that you that it's really easy for your opponent to tell which unit's which and what they're supposed to represent. Yeah. So I'm rebasing them I use them for 40k and Age of Sigmar, but in Age of Sigmar, they're in the land of Gur. They're from the realm of Gur, which is like a monster realm full of monsters. So I'm doing like a jungle ruins bases. So they're like I have a lot of these rock or like stone block that I have cast for various projects from my Hearst Arts molds, and they're just kind of sitting there with nothing to do. So I've been busting them up, and I'm going to use those on the bases. And I figured out with the help of Colin from the Independent Characters Facebook page, he's like, what is he? Organized Mischief Productions. He does painting.
Yeah, that's him.
So he gave me some tips for these bases. He said to try doing a purple wash in there.
Okay.
Or a purple undercoat. So what I did was I painted them gray with Administratum gray.
Right.
And, Dawnstone. I think Dawnstone. Yeah, I painted them with the layer Dawnstone. And then I washed them with I washed them with Magos Purple, the contrast paint.
Right.
And so it's like super purpley. But then I put a little thinned down Reichland Flesh shade over that. I thinned it with the actual medium, not like Lamian medium. I didn't use water. So the brown kind of like, I don't know, when it's with purple, it really adjusts the tone of that purple. It's still reddish, but it's not even like it doesn't even make it more red. It's really weird. It's like a bruise. You know what I'm saying? I use it on flesh all the time when I want to like coax some life out of some flesh. I use the purple a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I went and I dry brushed it again with the Dawnstone Dry. I accidentally picked this up actually at the GW store. I accidentally picked up dry Dawnstone instead of layer Dawnstone.
Really?
But I actually kind of like it. I kind of do. So I had some dry in here that I was using for other stuff. Or that I wasn't using for anything, but I got it in this lot that I got of paints. So I pulled out this Ethereum Blue, which is very much like Uthwen Gray, I think. It's a very light, almost white blue gray. And I lightly dry brushed over the top of that. So the miniature is already glued to the base.
Yeah. So
I didn't actually do the dry brushing very deep into the base, like right under the model.
Right.
But it kind of centers it. Like that darker, it's a little darker in the middle, and then like it gets lighter as it goes towards the edge of the base. And it actually kind of works. I like it. And then I put a little bit of green flock on there to contrast with the red skin without it being too over the top green. You know, that I was worried about green bases making it look Christmassy with the red skin.
Yeah, that's valid.
That's a danger. So I think that's gonna work. I really, it looks pretty professional. And of course the Orc looks way better on the 32 millimeter base.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Man, those old 25s, it's just night and day.
And they fall over. I'm using the Savage Orcs for my Demon Orcs. Right. And they're so top heavy. They're all like jumping off one foot with their hands in the air, wielding two weapons, waving them around like jerks. Like, they are real bad. So I am super glad to get them on 32s. So that project will happen as much as they're taunting me right now, especially with a new, with some new rules in Age of Sigmar and probably new rules coming in 40K.
Yeah.
The demons really need help in 40K, to be honest.
Really?
It's just they're kind of milquetoast, in my opinion, which demons should not be.
No, they shouldn't.
I don't want them to get... I mean, I don't mind if they have specific rules for specific gods.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Anyways, you know, it is what you make of it, right? So, I'm looking forward to that as it comes. But that is my hobby progress.
All right. Well, I don't have as much hobby progress because I've been gallivanting all over the state of Texas because that's what I do for some reason.
You love to gallivant.
Yes, I love gallivanting. Sometimes I even caper, and sometimes, I have a nice fast trot. Wow, I went there. Okay, cool. So my hobby progress. I don't know if I really I've put some pictures of my bases. You know me, I can't stop myself from creating a complex basing scheme. I don't know what's wrong with me. I really have no idea. But I created these bases for my Thousand Sons and my Demons. I took Sculpey and I rolled the the Egyptian roller from Green Stuff World. So I had like Egyptian glyphs, and I baked them, and then I essentially I didn't super glue them. I hot glued them to bases, and then I went through and painted them. I had this like rather intense scheme, going from black up to white, and then putting a chrome. I think it's called chrome silver or chrome white from Minotaur. I can't remember the paint name, but it gives that kind of sparkling color. And so, anyways, I did that, and then so I would go through and have these are supposed to be the ruins of Tiska of the sorcerer's planet of Prospero. So I went through, did that, and I discovered that each one individually takes a long time to make, but as a factory line, I can crank out about 100 at a time, no problem. One at a time would probably take the same amount as like 50 or 60. So it's like I've made this more complex scheme, but it's actually easier if I just say, you know what, let's just do 40 of the 25 millimeter, 40 of the 32s, and we'll do just a bunch of other stuff. And it just, as I was working through it, I thought, it's good I have the airbrush. That's what's helping me speed up. But it was just funny how quickly I was chugging through it. So
yeah, I was very surprised at my Caradron bases, like the Realm of Metal bases made with the plastic ard and stuff.
Right.
How quickly they you go through them. It's not too bad. It's well worth it.
Yeah. So I'm happy with my bases. I'm just looking at it going, I was trying to go simple, and what did I do? Almost as complex as my Zone Mortalis bases. So anyway, I did finish up my Brimstone Horrors, and I put those on the bases, and they look really nice. And so I did the same with the Blue Horrors. I'm still working on the Blue Horrors. I think I finished their teeth and nails. Nice to do like, gold and maybe paint some daggers and whatnot. I just need to kind of look at what's there. So those are the bases. We'll talk about this more in the games played, but I have a new Inquisitor that I built. When did I build him? I think I built him like in January. And I went ahead and painted him because a friend of mine, we're playing this Inquisition Wars game. He needed an Inquisitor, so I said, you know what, you can borrow mine, I'll paint it up, and you can run him. I've taken a couple of pictures of the paint job, and it's pretty nice. I actually like it for as quickly as I put it together. I think it works really well. There's still some minor details left, but I do like how it looks. If you're my friend on Facebook or you follow me on Instagram, I uploaded a pic last night, which would be Tuesday. So Tuesday before this is releasing. And he's standing in front of the Orky Plasma Obliterator that I built while I was in Albany. And then lost for a couple of years because it was packed up in a box. And I found it last night. So yay!
Whoop, whoop.
All right. Yeah, right? Let's see. So that's kind of my painting stuff that I've done. I did pick up the Thousand Suns Start Collecting box because I did not have Ahriman. And there were some, good friends, that play Thousand Suns who looked at me and said, look, I know you're playing narrative, but you need Ahriman. just go get him, deal with it, suck it up. And I'm also supposed to play an APOC game this summer. And so I thought, well, I can take Ahriman and I can take Magnus because those two love each other. And I can take a whole bunch of Exalted Sorcerers on discs, and that'll be my army. And it'll be a nice army. I'm not sure how many. I calculated the points. I think it was like 100 points in Apocalypse for for basically 11 models.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I thought that would be, a fun thing to build.
That sounds awesome.
I also got in the mail the other day a present. I'm putting this under hobby.
Huh.
And it was this box. And the box showed up and I was like, what's this? Because I was waiting for my box of Masters of the Forge dice. If you see me at Adepticon, ask for some dice. I'll give you some. I got an entire bag of them. Anyways, the box was not from ChessX. It was from somewhere else. And it said T. Zinch. And the return address was something like, it was all planned or something like that. I was like, this is not my dice. It was a box of Zangors from our buddy Will, which I guess you paid him for, because inside, and let me get this note, because it is quite a nice note.
Okay.
Hold on.
It is a nice note. I left explicit instructions to leave a kind and thoughtful note for Jason.
Adam says, that's what you get. Masters of the Forge, with a big heart in the middle of MOTF forever. So I'm keeping that. I might actually make that my cover page, actually. Picture. But yeah, so I've got Zangors. So because, that's how it goes, I looked at them and was like, okay, we need some auto pistols. So I literally, I just looked at it and went, okay, fine, I'm going to have these. I'm going to get some guns. And so I messaged Daw, our local guy, and said, hey, I need you to order some things for me. So, yeah, now I've got more Zangors. Okay. All right. I'll be okay.
So much jewelry.
That's, I wasn't going to, buy them just because, I prefer to have, the demon idea. And then I looked at, what they had, and I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. But, I can do it. I can pull it off. I can do this. I got this. So I don't have a lot of hobby this week, but I do have a lot of games played somehow, which normally is not the way it works. So how about this, Adam? Why don't you start with your games played?
Sure.
Yeah.
So new guy Mike came to the store.
Are you calling him New Mike?
I mean, that's the only way I know him. So okay. New Mike.
But does he know that he's New Mike? Because we have.
I haven't called him New Mike yet, but I will.
Okay.
It's kind of a thing I do. Anyways, yeah. I had brought my Emperor's Children because I wanted to use my new my new summoner guy. Mm-hmm. And he's only played a few games and they've all been ITC missions, and I was like, listen, I ain't got time for that. Right. So let's bust out the open war deck and see how you like that. He said okay.
Yeah.
And it was it's just kill points mission, and the twist was all models had +2 inch movement and +1 to charge and +1 to run.
Yeah.
So it was super fast, even though he was playing Nurgle. It was a really fast game. Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of did this yin yang circle around the middle of the board towards each other, and then crashed in the middle. A pinwheel vortex of death.
Yeah.
It was a really fun game. I killed his vehicles pretty quickly with noise marines and assault and stuff, but he all those not nurglings, but plague bearers, man, they really have a hard time. They're like, I don't feel like dying today. Oh, all right, you can do that. So we've been playing a lot of 1500 at the store lately.
Okay.
For all our games. Yeah, it's just easier.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I've noticed on Mini Wargaming they've kind of done the same thing. A lot of people playing 1500. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's not a bad points level to play at for an evening of gaming.
Right.
Then I played the Angels of Death Descend mission from Vigilus Defiant against Connor's Nurgle forces this week. That was super fun. I'm using my 40k friendly army, which is basically all the buggies I own. and some bikes and 20 Gretchen in a battle wagon, which is just the best. I love that. Angels of Death Descend simulates the orcs zooming around on their buggies,
right?
Attacking an Imperial position, and then a bunch of Space Marines come and save them. So he took the position of the of where the Space Marines are. There's the defender with his Death Guard. So and he left 2 units of Death Guard and Rhinos in reserve as kind of the saviors or whatever. And it was really cool. I zoomed up, and even with minuses to hit because it was like a dawn raid, and I'm kicking up dust and stuff, he still killed a bunch of my buggies like right away. Well, I did advance forward and like charge him turn 1 with some of the buggies. So what, because the Deathkiller Wartrike allows you to advance and charge, which is pretty cool. And it was a whirling dervish of death. And when he came, I tried charging one of the plague burst crawlers, with one of my Deathkiller, or one of my Megatrack scrapjets, right? And he killed the scrapjet in Overwatch with that thing. It's it's nasty, dude. It's nasty. Those things, they have the flamers. So the rest of the game, I wouldn't charge the damn thing unless I was over 9 inches away.
Yeah.
Well, or the Bagel Wagon, because the Bagel Wagon was toughness 8, so he was like, whatever. So yeah, I think he made the reinforcements came in on one side, which was unfortunate because I was really fast, so it allowed me to like zoom over to the flank he didn't come in on and grab one of those objectives and just kind of hold out until the end. So it was a really fun game. It was a victory for the Orcs. So Death Guard had 1, Orcs 1, Dark Eldar 0 apparently. So we'll see how we do in our next game. I think next time we get together and play a narrative game, I think we're going to switch back to the Drukhari versus Death Guard, and we're going to do a Zone Mortalis scenario. We're going to continue our narrative from the last time we played. This was just kind of a way to practice my buggy list to see if it was friendly or not. I'm still not sure, because that is a lot of vehicles, but he did kill a lot of my guys.
Yeah.
So it was a fun game.
Yeah.
That's it for games. I need to keep playing stuff I'm using at Adepticon just so I can get used to it. It's not to get better at playing it and win games. It's to make sure I know all my rules and stuff, and so I don't have to keep looking crap up. Even my orc stuff, I found myself looking stuff up. It's been kind of light on gameplay the past year or so. So so I need to play my buggy list. I need to play my carriage run, and I need to play some kill team with my Chaos Warband. So next week, I think I'm gonna play kill team at the store. Right. And I have a buddy coming over Friday to play Age of Sigmar with me. So.
Oh, even better. Okay, cool.
So that'll be good.
Yeah.
But that is the games played situation.
Cool.
On this side of the continent.
I'm not that far away.
Well,
all right.
I mean, north, south. Well, not really. Yeah, you're right.
I'm still in the U.S.
One thing I wanted to bring up, I found a bottle of craft sand that was Wendy's. I think she used it to make like ornaments and jewelry and stuff, like in glass bottles. But it's really, really fine sand, and I think it's the same stuff that GW sells for like $100,000.
Oh wow!
A case, but it's a giant bottle, and I think it's pretty inexpensive. Yeah. That's really good for bases.
Yeah.
So check out your craft store over in the jewelry section, maybe. Look around for these bottles of sand. It's way cheaper.
I'll have to check that out. Because my nearest craft store is not that near, to be honest. So yeah. All right. So for me, games played. So we returned to Blackstone Fortress finally. We took basically almost 2 months off from Blackstone, not because we didn't like it, but because we just did. I like the game a lot, but mapping in the Escalation expansion is a bit tricky. And I'm not sure if this was due to like misprints and errors, or if those misprints and errors were intentional. You know, it's like, is this something that they did on purpose to, you know, pull that narrative of, hey, not everything's easy to find here, or was there just some other issue? And so I'm, you know, we didn't play last week because I wasn't there to play, but yeah, it was, it's been interesting. I do like playing it though. It's a great game. I'm really impressed with it. So I played Blackstone. I also played Warcry. Which have you played Warcry yet?
I've played a few games.
Yeah.
It's quick and fun.
Right. So like I took my Tzeentch demons, which is I figured since I have these demons, I can go ahead and run AOS. I can run 40k. I can do Warcry, whatever. But I took a Screamer, a Flamer, and an assortment of horrors. My buddy Dodd won the game, but it was really fun. It took us about 30 minutes to finish just a teaching game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and most of the time the hang up was me, like the slowdown was me overthinking. It's like, oh, well, it can't be this easy. And, you know, Dollar looks at me and goes, yeah, it is. Stop 40K'ing. This isn't that difficult.
Yeah, I love the dice pool mechanic of that thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like that. It's an interesting mechanic. I need to go back and play it a couple more times to really feel solid on it, but yeah. So for games played, in the future, I'm wanting to do a segment or maybe an episode, I don't know. Definitely a segment on what I'm going to talk about next. My local group is doing basically an Inquisition Wars campaign. And this is based similar to what Adon did over in, you know, from Independent Characters over, I guess he was at Endgames, right? And I actually talked to him and to Mike, the other guy who was at that store, and they sent me their information. And so I shared it with Daw, and we kind of put together this thing. It's mostly Daw running it. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 of us playing, myself, Da, Ramos, and Keith. And we're all playing Radical Inquisitors because...
So, like, do you have dyed hair? Do you dye your hair with Manic Panic? And, like, do you have, like, the fingers cut out of your gloves? And I'm just wondering how radical these Inquisitors really are. Do they shred? Are they people who do shredding of... either and or like guitars and or skateboards?
Well, if you look at my Inquisitor, she has orange hair with yellow tips.
That's true. Tips.
Yeah, tips with a P. Yeah, sorry, I want to make sure I get the enunciation. Yeah, properly.
Pop those peas. Pop those peas.
Yeah, so she has the kind of electric hair.
So she's definitely a radical Inquisitor.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to remember what Daw did with his. Oh, his Inquisitor is Ordo Xenos, but she's carrying around Eldar tech. You know, and has like a pet. I think has a pet solitaire or something like that. I don't remember. Ramos has this kind of hilarious backstory, like an Ordo Xenos Inquisitor, but has been infected by the Gene Stealer cult. Like went to go root out Gene Stealers, and they caught the Inquisitor and made him one of theirs. Keith is borrowing my one of my Inquisitors that I was using as a retinue character, and he's using Ordo Chronos, and I'm also using Ordo Chronos. So it has been a fun campaign. You know, I've actually been writing action reports for this thing, which that's not always my strength, I guess. But I've been having a good time, like, writing up reports that have, like, digital noise and, you know, redacted all over it and all sorts of things. Kind of like the GW style of reports. So I don't have to, you know, I'm there to just kind of make certain comments about things, which is quite nice. So since the last time we recorded, I've actually played 4 games. I mean, they're kill team games essentially, but we're throwing out some of the rules. Like, you can have something from whatever faction. If you want to go through and have a Space Marine Librarian as your commander, and then have, a Sister Repentia and whatnot to build out your warband, then you do. And you just keep your points together, but you just kind of ignore the faction keywords. So, let's see. I've got 4 games in here. I actually have some things I could talk about. My first game, which was considered game 2 overall, was versus Dawes Ordo Xenos. And it was an objective game. It was actually quite fun. The narrative for my list essentially became, how quickly can the Scions die? They die pretty quick.
Well, they deserve to.
Yeah, they do, right? And so my new joke has been, I was naming them N-254, 55, and 56. Then we skipped 1 or 2 because accidents happen. So that game was a draw, but it was a lot of fun. And we wrote a narrative around that we'll be posting about online. And then I played against Keith. He didn't have his stuff with him that day, or as I like to call him, Keith from my Warhammer guild. We had my Inquisitor, and I had a whole bunch of pink horrors. I thought, let's go ahead and see what the horrors do in gameplay. Narrative horrors are kind of like busted. Like, if you follow the rules without, because you go through and kill one and 2 pop up, you killed that one, etc. Let me see. What do I have in my notes here? At some point, I'm going to add the Flash Git to my retinue just for giggles, since my Inquisitor, I've already written in that she has a habit of bringing in all sorts of mercenaries and having all sorts of buddies show up. So that was the first 2 games, and I played 2 more, one against Don, one against Ramos again. And you can go through and put the Amble model from Blackstone in Kill Team now. It basically becomes kind of a wandering monster. It's got a really fun mechanic on what it does. And in the first game versus Daw, basically ended up fighting each other. And the Amble just basically chewed through stuff. Which, that's what the Amble does. It's a really tough model in Kill Team. And my Meltagun Scion, you'll hear more about this guy, got charged by one of Dawes' characters and actually scored a 6 in Overwatch.
Yes.
And just melted the other characters, like, oh, that's bad. And so, I hadn't been taking Meltaguns at all because in Kill Team, plasma guns are kind of where it's at.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not trying to game the system. I just took the Meltaguns because it's not plasma and it's painted.
Yeah.
And then, he ends up like melting people. So that guy killed 2 people. And then I played another game right afterwards versus Ramos. And it was attacking the Amble. I came back to try and get it. And so part of the Amble's NPC wandering monster mechanic is you have like a location token, and every turn you roll to see which way it moves and how far. Mm-hmm. And so I had the Meltagun guy all by himself, and the thing rolled basically almost on top of him. So within 6 inches,
boom, boom, boom.
He said, yeah.
It's right above me!
Exactly. So this thing shows up, and I had a librarian, librarian/exalted sorcerer. We won't talk about that rule set. Managed to like get 1 wound on it, knocking it down to like 5 wounds. And then Meltagun guy rolled a 5 for damage. Just got him right in the face. I was like, great. This guy has to get a new paint job, and he's getting a name. He's getting a paint job and a name, so I gotta come up with a name for him.
Don needs to understand that a Amble would make a sound like, it would be like, work, when it dies.
Oh, yeah. We were having a discussion about that and about the Croot Hounds.
That's right, the Croot Hounds.
Yeah. Well, because my Inquisitor has Croot Hounds as her personal puppies. Because, I mean, think about it. You think about the young women who run around with, small dogs in their purses. My Inquisitor runs around with 2 Croot Hounds that are almost as tall as she is,
Yeah. But they're part chicken, part dog, so obviously they make sounds like chocobos.
Yeah, there we go. So, yeah. And I've got to paint them up a little bit better as well because they actually do pretty good work in close combat, and they can run across the board really easily. So it's kind of funny. So anyways, yeah, he needs a new paint job and a new name. His current name is N-259, so I'll have to come up with a better name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably he probably gets traumatized every time he sets somebody on fire with his meltagun. Like, it probably haunts his dreams watching people die from melta.
I'll have to write that to his backstory because I mean we have a website, or we have a Google Doc that we're putting together where we have backstory on all of our characters. So this guy now has to have a backstory.
Right, I feel like with a plasma gun, like there's some kind of impact there, and the person like just dies, right? But I feel like with the meltagun, it's so powerful that it hardly notices the beam hardly notices the person is there at all, so it just goes through them, right? So I feel like the person would live for a while, and they would recognize the fact that there is a hole in their body. Yeah. And they would just die from just the shock. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. All right. So yeah, those are my games played, and we're on to Beyond the Fringe.
Beyond the Fringe. Picard is awesome.
Is it? Okay, I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. You should watch it. That is all.
I'll put that on my list of stuff because I do need to watch it, because what's going to happen is one of my lovely friends, probably someone who's listening to this right now, is going to spoil it for me, and I'm going to want them to die.
Just watch it. Do it tonight. Whatever. Sleep is for the weak.
No, tomorrow morning I have an interview. So. Oh,
yeah, you're interviewing for your own job tomorrow?
Yes, I am. 8 a.m. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to go teach at 8 a.m. You guys are going to... my nonstop mouth is going to be like out of control. It's going to be great. I'm doing this tonight because this is relaxing. You hear that, people? You guys relax me.
All right. What is your Beyond the Fringe?
All right, my Beyond the Fringe. I got a new office. Yeah, I got a new office. It's got a window. Yeah. Do you know who has 2 thumbs and doesn't care about a window? This guy. Because I can't store anything on the windows. Like the couple 100 feet of microphone cable that I need to figure out where it's going to go. So, but it is nice. I mean, I sat there yesterday and looked out, and it's like, wow, I can look out at the undergrads walking across the green. All right. And realize that they're all idiots, but I love them because they're my kids. And it's like, oh great, that guy's coming into the building. Okay, I'm gonna hide under my desk so he won't notice me.
Yeah, it looks, you have a really nice view. It's really nice.
It is nice. I can't believe I have it, and I can't believe that I'm like the person who would least appreciate it. And I feel kind of bad about that. I actually do feel bad. It's like, I know people who would love to have that giant window, and I'm like, I don't care. I just need a place to put mic stands.
That's good for you, dude. So, astropathic communique. Yeah. We had a bunch of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about, Shadow and Iron, the Titanicus stuff, Ordo Sinister, Fire the Ursus Claws, etc. It's pretty cool. Well, I was going to do Ordo Sinister, but I guess you can only have one of the Psi Titans in your army, so...
Really?
Yeah, I might change it. Nurgle for Blackstone Fortress. Are you getting it?
It's
like $60.
I didn't pre-order it, but I probably should. Yeah. I think we're getting it. I just didn't order it because I was like not paying attention.
Yeah, some folks are a little PO'd because it's like old models. Not old, but you know.
Well, they're Dark Imperium / First Strike / I mean, they're beginning of 8th edition. How about that?
Yeah. And anybody who has a Nurgle army already has these models. But if you don't have a Nurgle army and you're just playing Blackstone Fortress, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's perfect. I had those models, and then I sent them to our buddy James.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For his son. Yep.
The Gathering Wa is the next... It's going to be in the next Psychic Awakening. The Beast has returned. By returned, I mean it's Gazgul. Probably Gazgul. At any rate, he's been spotted.
Oh, you know it.
The Makari has been spotted alongside the Beast at every engagement. So
yeah, that's been pretty funny.
They released some new info about Makari. He's got a 2-up invuln save. That's adorable.
Wait, the Grot has a 2-up invuln save?
He's really lucky. Toughness 3, 4 wounds, 2-up invuln save.
Okay, yeah. Okay, he's 3-up. Or he's T3. Okay, that's fine. How many wounds?
Oh my, 4.
2, 4. Okay, 4. Okay, yeah, that's Dude, ridiculous. But
yeah, the Custodes players are so mad. They're so mad because I think they can only get a 4-up. Can they take Storm Shields? At any rate, literally the only other 2-up invuln save in the game is the Archon from Drukhari. Yeah. And if you fail a save, you lose the 2-up invuln.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Makari just keeps his 2-up save. But he's just shoot him with bullets. He's fine.
What is it? He's T3. I mean, you're wounding on 3s with every bolt round you hit him with.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if he was like T7, I'd be hacked off. Or T5.
I'm surprised he's not T2, because most Gretchen are T2. He's a very tough Gretchen.
He's a tough Gretchen, yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm really looking forward to that book when it comes out. I'm super stoked about that. So, all right. Let's do a quick book report of The Greater Good, as we do. I've tried to keep it somewhat succinct. Now, I noticed that this book, it's called The Greater Good, and I think for good reason. There are rules and stuff for the Astra Militarum, the Militarum Tempestus, and I think that's it, other than the Tau.
Yeah.
I have it right here. I could look.
But that would be easy.
Yeah. Oh, and Gene Stealer Cult.
Are there rules for Gene Stealers?
Well, not like the rules for Gene Stealers are in the actual book. There's new rules. There's new rules for Gene Stealer Cult in here, though.
Sorry, Gene Stealer Cult. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's a bunch of you can make your own cult. Choose your own adventure, make your own cult, new stratagems and stuff that you can use. It's cool. But even though there's additional rules for all those things, the book really focuses on the Tau, I think. There every narrative section, it's but by the way, even like in the other sections that talk about like Astra Militarum or Gene Stealer Cult, it talks about how they interact with the Tau.
Right.
So this section of space is very much part of this fifth sphere expansion. Mm-hmm. So, right now the Tau species, they see these species who reject the greater good as, for the moment, totally unredeemable.
Right.
They have to make war with them, as they liken it to being stern to a child that for its own good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love you, but I have to punish you because you won't learn if I don't punish you. So that's kind of how they see making war against other species.
Yeah.
So the fifth sphere expansion began to reunite the Tau thanks to the Startide Nexus, which is like this warp gate thing.
Right.
But it wasn't long before the scattered remnants of the fourth sphere were reconnected with the rest of the Empire. When they were found little by little, if you recall, the fourth sphere was lost.
Yeah, there's been a couple of novels that have kind of gone into it. There's at least one novel that kind of went into it, although I literally don't remember which the novel it was now.
Yeah, we were talking about it when 8th edition first came out, and the lore that they had in the core rulebook and how the Tau were left somewhat shaken by their experiences in the warp, and all of their auxiliaries on all their ships were lost, like, or turned into demons or whatever.
Yeah.
Like really bad stuff. And the fourth sphere have been treating these other species with some really like they've been committing what the Tau see as atrocities.
Right.
And it's really interesting. They've had to punish a lot of fourth sphere expansion Tau because of it. But the fifth sphere has been clashing with Orcs, Astra Militarum, Death Guard. One of the big fights was against the Death Guard, actually.
Okay.
But on the world of Astorgius, they attempted to use diplomacy to bring the light of the greater good. But the 5 heads of five of the cast of all 5 casts were delivered back to the Tau.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Peace isn't going to work. So,
5 heads in a duffel bag.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. On this world, it explains how the Tau use the greater good to gain a foothold on a large world. And it is very much like the Gene Stealer cult. And there was a Gene Stealer cult on this world as well. So it was basically this shadow war between the Gene Stealer cult and Shadow Sun to win over the Imperial locals on the planet. It's a really funny story. And it talks about how they use those forces to do these lightning raids and create these bunkers where they can fall back to. And that's how they kind of won that world, by these little piecemeal, hit and fade tactics, until they eventually had to bring the fight to the main body of the planet.
Yeah.
Again, the Tau were very confused about a lot of the stuff that was happening during these conflicts, all the Guevesa called them miracles. They were like, what's a miracle? I don't get
really?
It. Yeah. But when they at first the Tau were like, whatever, I don't know what you're talking about. But then when they played back the video of what happened during the battle, they had to admit that, yeah, that's literally what's happening. Like blinding flashes of holy light during the battle. Priests flying through the air with superhuman capabilities.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't know. I'm wondering there have been talk. So I read some of the stories that are part of the psychic. If you read the stories that they post on Warhammer Community, you get a really good idea of what's coming.
Yeah.
So there were some really interesting pyrotechnics involved in one of the Orc stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some people are thinking we might be getting living spells. We might be getting some new psychic powers for the faithful. I'm not sure, but it's really interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me, only because, and I mean, I played in 7th edition. I played a lot. Mm-hmm. And there was a big expansion of the psychic abilities towards the last year. It was, in my opinion, a little bit too much because it really kind of threw the balance of the game off. But I can see that coming back. Like, I'm playing Thousand Suns right now, and I have, Dark Reticus, Zinch, and then, like, some basic. I don't have a whole lot of choices, which that's fine. I mean, I don't mind too much, but it's just funny how I was used to having almost like hundreds, well, not hundreds, but, easily 18 to 24 spells I could use, then being pulled down to like 9. That's a big thing there. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was an expansion at all. So
right. So some of the Guelas species started to, like, some of them birthed demons, as they do. And any of the Tau who witnessed that happen were sent to a farm upstate. Like it says they were sent to be reconditioned. I'm like, yeah, with a bullet in their head.
That's right.
Veterans of the Force Sphere expansion began executing their Govesa charges.
Yeah.
They were forced to take the Malkla, which I think is ritual suicide.
Yeah. Oh,
but they felt it was well worth it. You'll thank us later. So, gee whiz. Haphos were dealing with their own Gene Stealer cult. The Watercast came direct contact with the governor and offered victory against the Gene Stealer cult. But only in a chance. The governor was about to do it. Was about to agree to the Tau's advances. Right. But a minister and priest came from the front lines of the battle with the Tau and the Gene Stealer cult, and it almost immediately switched something off or on in the governor's mind, and she rejected the Tau and stood against them. Yeah, it's really again. I'm like the Watercast, the Ethereals and stuff have this mind control ability that is hinted at. So I guess I shouldn't say they have it. It's hinted that they have this mind control ability. But with the new psychic awakening, some of these priests have just they've shown such interesting abilities of their own,
right?
And these miracles that happen, and just showing up to her cleared her mind of all the work that the Watercast had done on her brain. So I thought that was a really interesting part of the story.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a lot more talk about how the Gene Stealer cults and the Tower at odds with each other,
right?
On some of these worlds. But there's an Echoes of Awakening section that's, I don't know if it's been called this in the other books, but it's just this little section with in-character, in-world descriptions of things that are happening, like messages and telepathic communiques and poetry and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So there's stories of line troopers with incredible foresight, which is generally unfortunate because they have to be executed or something. I forget. The Imperium's dumb.
Yeah, that's very true.
New warp spiders. New warp spiders have been seen. I'm wondering if those models are coming. Grey Knights, with the assistance of Drago, thwarted the plans of Magnus, along with parallel actions by the Dark Angels. I think that's talking about what happened in the They kind of didn't know what each other were doing though. At the same time, I failed to read that part of that book. Repeated over and over, kill, maim, burn, kill, maim, burn, kill, maim, burn. So that's good. Yeah. Can't wait for that to happen.
Wog.
There's a whole thing about these mechanical gods. The mechanical god Stride. And then there's talk of the Iron Warriors spotted with 11 plus varieties of mechanical engine beasts, armed with empiric grade weapons.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that's talking about Imperial Knights. like Chaos Knights, but Empiric grade weapons seems very different from anything they have right now, unless that new super duper laser gun is an Empiric weapon, but I don't think it is. Well, I know that they were, I think they were planning on doing something on the other side of the Nockmud Gauntlet, so maybe they're talking about that.
Okay.
Flesh Terror's Primaris Marines falling to the Black Rage, confirmed.
Not surprising. Okay.
And the Drukhari stole a bunch of Blackstone from Call. I wonder if that's what happens in the Great Work. I haven't finished reading that novel yet, so.
Well, I'm waiting for something to, we were talking about this the other night, about what's going to happen with Blackstone Fortress, because there will be some sort of like wrap up. Mm-hmm. There'll be something. It's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think.
Right.
We're just wondering, is the Blackstone Fortress going to, be taken over by, Abaddon or someone else? So,
right.
Yeah, it was
very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The expansions, I really do dig them. I probably will pick up the Nurgle expansion. It's just this past week or two has been kind of insane. So,
right. Yeah. Well, that's what's been going on in your Warhammer world or whatever. Yeah. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the main topic of our show, which is repentance on your tabletop.
Come here, boy. Get the ball. Come on, Max. Get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him Zotobix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotobix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy. I'd better feed Max his Zotobix.
Yes, you had.
Zotobix is made in part from Grade A Astra Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins and minerals harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert devils. Zotobix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. All right, welcome back. So let's start with going through some of these units and their abilities. Now, again, this isn't like, take this thing to do this thing. This is about how the units are reflected in the lore.
Right.
We're going to have some supporting rules. and some new rules for you to use in your games.
Cool.
So let's talk about the Repentia. I think the Repentia are the main kind of unit for this idiom, right? They've got the Shield of Faith, of course, because they're Sisters of Battle. They have Axe of Faith because they're Sisters of Battle.
That's right.
And Sacred Rites. So almost all of these abilities are very thematic. Well, yeah, all of these abilities are very thematic for the Repentia. Yeah. But the Hand of the Emperor Sacred Rite adds 1 to their charge rolls, which is awesome. So the Sacred Rites,
good.
Yeah, Sacred Rites is something that at the start of the game, a Sisters of Battle player just gets like a special cool rule, kind of like the Mechanicus ones.
Yeah.
Where you just like the army gets with the Sacred Rites gets special cool stuff. So rolling, you either roll and get 2, or you pick and get 1. And if you're playing a Sisters of Repentia heavy army, it's really not. I'd say just roll because they're all fine.
Yeah.
Unless you're going for a specific theme, in which case pick.
I will say I have not played them in 40K just yet, but I need to get a game in with them in 40K.
You can use the battle rate stratagem to change it if you want. Like if there's a certain point in the game where you feel like the story is changing. So say you're charging in, say at the beginning of the game you're racked with rage and whatever, and you want that you'll use it for the +1 to charge rolls or whatever. But once they get stuck in, maybe they'll have the passion instead. You can use battle rights to re-roll or change it. So it's pretty cool. They also have 5+ to ignore wounds.
Uh-huh.
And you gain a miracle dice when the unit is destroyed because that makes sense, right? Like, if they die, that means they are absolved in the eyes of the Emperor. You get a miracle dice. And they get 5+ ignore wounds because they are lunatics.
Yes, they are.
They have 2 they have 2 attacks and a 7+ save because they're wearing cloth.
Right, pretty much, yeah.
The Eviscerators are slow and they're -1 to hit, but their strength ×2, AP -3 damage too, which that definitely feels very evisceratory.
Yeah. Well, it works really well in the Kill Team.
They look so cool. They whip around like whack, 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 whack. It's awesome. I don't think anything about that. I think they put a lot of thought into this Sisters of Repentia.
Yeah.
They really feel like they should on the battlefield. I wish they were a little faster.
Yeah.
But I think the power armor is supposed to make you faster too. So if they're the same speed as their sisters are when they wear armor, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, it's that works for me.
Mm-hmm. Those are the main actual Sisters of Battle units of this Repentance on your tabletop section. Everything else is kind of more Ministorum based. The Arcoflagellants are Ministorum. They don't have any of the Sisters of Battle abilities, but they still do have a 5+ ignore wounds to represent the fact that they're like mindless and full of faith in the Emperor. They're strength 5. They do the D3 attacks per hit. So they have the flails. So they do a whole. Right. So that's represented by a bunch of attacks, which is really cool. And they have Zealot, which is a universal rule for the sisters or for the Ministorum, which just lets them reroll hits and charge or when charged or whatever. So they are a blender, these Arcoflagellants. That feels pretty good. I don't know. What do you think, dude? Do you think the Arcoflagellants... I feel weird about using them without like a priest, right? I feel like if there's no priest there, I feel like they wouldn't be very responsive from a narrative perspective. Like they're supposed to be handled, right? Or an Inquisitor.
That's true. I mean, thinking about that, because I was like, well, why wouldn't they? But then, they probably didn't have a priest. They probably need to have an Inquisitor or something like that to kind of keep them in
to give them the kill order.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say, are they 5 attacks and then it's D3 each?
I'm not sure how many attacks it was, but it's a lot. I think it's a lot.
Yeah, I remember whenever the Codex came out, I just kind of map hammered it and thought, wow, but okay, I'll go buy some Arcoflagellants.
Well,
awesome.
And there's stuff that gives them extra attacks too, like
right.
But
they're
gross.
Cool.
I think they would go really good in a Inquisition kill team, stuff like that. They have 2 attacks base.
Okay, it's 2 base.
Endurance has 3, but each of their attacks is D3 attacks. So
that's a lot of attacks. I haven't used them in my kill team yet for my Inquisitor, just because I just haven't used them yet. I've thought about it though, because I've got those 3 from the. And the thing is that they're only highlighted; they're not painted, and so I don't like to play something that's not at least base coated. So
right.
That's kind of why I was like, I haven't used them yet.
The Penitent engines have Zealot as well.
Yeah.
And speaking of blenders, those guys are...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's one loadout that looked like it was just, it's there's like, not even a blender, it's like a wood chipper, I know
that GW has been trying to stay away from compulsory movement in this edition, because it's kind of first of all, it's hard to describe, and the rules, it's hard to adjudicate, and it's, for matched play, it's got some feel badsies.
Yeah.
But if I were to run these guys in a narrative game, they would be hell bent for leather. They wouldn't be holding no objectives. That's for dang sure.
Oh no, not at all. They should be, getting in the fight. And I mean, I have played them in what was it? I have played them in Kill Team, and they weren't painted, and I felt bad about it. Yeah. But I just used them like any chance that they had to run at the enemy, I just did it automatically.
Nice.
It's like, no, we're not going for objectives. They're here to eat Tyranid face, and that's what they did.
They have an ability called Berserk Killing Machines.
Yeah.
All it is a 5+ ignore wounds, but that's a great. I want an ability that's called Berserk Killing Machines.
Yeah.
They have 4 attacks. There's such a blender.
Yeah.
The flail is like, they have so many attacks. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But then you have the mortifiers. These are the ones that are the Sisters of Battle who done messed up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, these are interesting. Like they do a lot of shooting and stuff. They're a little confused, I think.
Right.
Like they have that Anguish of the Unredeemed, which they explode on a 4+.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the 6+ ignore wounds. But I don't know. I don't like this. I kind of don't like this unit.
Yeah, I remember not being as impressed with like the rule set, but the idea I liked. I thought it was more interesting narratively than on the tabletop.
Yeah, I mean, you can turn their, what is it? You can turn their heavy flamers into pistols.
Right. Which
allows you to shoot them in combat, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I was just kind of hoping for more like, I guess you get that, you get the crazy close combat killers thing out of the Penitent engines, but the mortifiers, I feel like they're just a crunchy unit for killing stuff with.
Right.
and there could be a little bit more, but I don't have any suggestions to make it more reflective in the lore. So I guess I don't have not being helpful means that I don't have room to complain, but I don't know. If anybody has any ideas to make mortifiers more flavorful, maybe with some stratagems or something, let us know.
Yeah.
So we have some non-ecclesiarchy stuff. Well, okay, one unit, the Penal Legionnaires.
Interesting.
These are we talked about them in the lore section, and there actually is Schaefer's Last Chancer's fan decks out there that you can go and find. I found it on I found the link on D4chan. And yeah, I know that's a hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah. It's got its things, man.
But that fan decks, let me tell you, I'm impressed with it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's have a look, everybody. It's really cool. So then we have rules that really flesh out these units, and I think this is where some of the a lot of the flavor comes from for these units. First of all, you have the Repentance Superior. She gives like reroll charge and run rolls and reroll ones to hit for the Repentia, which really turns them into Cuisinarts of Doom. The Dialogus can offer them a stirring rhetoric, which gives them +1 or -1 to a Mirkadai roll.
Yeah.
And the Laud Halar gives +1 leadership, which helps them stop running away. And they don't want to run away, or else they get turned into a Mortifier Anchorite. That would not be great.
Pretty much. Then you have to go buy mortifiers and build them and paint them.
And paint them and put them in your army. No one wants that.
No.
You have missionaries, preachers, and also Thaddeus the Purifier from Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah.
They all have war hymns, which give +1 attack to Adeptus Ministorum units, and Astra Militarum infantry within 6 inches. So that's pretty cool. +1 attack is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you've got some big blob.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Or anything really.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure that would be really great for just the Repentia.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
A Magifier gives Repentia +1 strength within 6 inches.
Right.
So +1 attack with the missionary, +1 strength from the Magifier. They're just like, we're so angry. We're so angry at you.
Here, have some +1 strength and some +1 attacks.
Yeah. With a giant freaking chainsword.
Yeah.
Rad.
Hey, I like the our next bullet point there.
Yeah, Pius Vorn. She, including her, would prevent units from getting the order convictions in matched play.
Yeah.
You could use her in narrative play though. Just say, "Hey, I have Pius Vorn." It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, Pius Vorn and so we're using that character. My buddy Keith from my Warhammer guild. There's a joke behind this. Is using Pius Vorn, and he managed to pick up a special rule that makes her invulnerable. Like, she doesn't die, or if she dies, she comes back. And
that's funny.
She's got that flamethrower, and part of our games are charge. And he'll run her up there and just flame everything right in the face.
That's fantastic. Kill order.
Yeah, pretty much. And everyone else is just standing there like, well, okay, we'll let the zealot with the flamethrower go first. It's better than letting the orc with the the flash get with the
the laser gun of death.
Yeah, it's just shooting literally everything in his path. Yeah.
There are 2 orders that I would suggest using if you want to really focus on this repentance angle. Order of the Valorous Heart is really known for their commitment to earning atonement through suffering.
Right.
So, they don't really, I would say they don't buff the Repentia at all.
Yeah.
Okay, not at all, but not much.
Yeah.
But that's not really the point. If you're going for this atonement / repentance theme, these are the ones for you. Right. They're really tough as nails, so they get a 6+ ignore wounds for their sisters. That's superfluous for the Repentia because they've got a 5+.
Right. Okay.
But all weapons with an AP of -1 instead have a -0 against them.
So that makes it a little bit better. That's a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have. Yeah.
That's pretty great. Now against the Repentia, again, the Repentia are like, well,
they don't care. Yeah.
I'm using my 6+ invuln anyways. But against the rest of the army, that's pretty cool. The Magifier uses Tail of the Stoic, and that'll provide resistance of AP -2 instead. So
yeah,
pretty great. And their relic is neat. They have the Casket of Penitence.
Yeah,
it's a relic that has a spark of the Emperor's soul inside it, I guess. And it actually burns the bearer's flesh.
Yeah.
But it gives enemies a -1 to their toughness within an inch of the bearer.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. Again, it doesn't like buff the Repentia at all. It's just definitely a like repentance, penitence. Like I'm paying penance by carrying that thing that hurts my flesh. I would love to model that on a character. That would be super cool.
That would be pretty cool. So I'll catch the next one. Order of the Bloody Rose.
Yeah,
that's the order with the white armor, right?
I believe so.
Okay, that's the order I'm painting because. Yeah, let's do the hard paint job, right? Because that's me. All right. So, anyways, they're known for their intense rage in the heat of battle, and they can improve the AP of their Eviscerators by 1. And add +1 attack in charge situations, making them an insane blender.
Yeah, add that to a priest, and all of a sudden it's just like, good lord.
Oh man, that is a blender. It's a blender and a wood chipper, and it'll oh wow, okay.
It's a wood chipper that chips blenders. It's a blender chipper.
Oh wow, that's
like that's
terrifying.
You'll plug in like 1,000 blenders and throw them in a wood chipper. That's what that's like.
Wow, I bet that sounds amazing.
I bet it does.
So anyways, they do have one stratagem. What is it? Tear them down. For 1 CP, the order unit gets +1 to wound in combat because, yeah, sure. There's
right.
Yeah, it's like, well, let's make sure and get the what's the thing they used to call the slap chop or something like that? That was one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah. Order of the Bloody Rose, I think, from a rules perspective, really buffs up those Repentia and makes them incredibly powerful. So
that is pretty cool.
I would say from a narrative perspective, Order of the Valorous Heart is more repenty.
Yeah.
But Order of the Bloody Rose is more stabby for the Repentia. So
or blender. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, okay, just so we're all in the same boat here, just so we all know, I only chose Order of the Bloody Rose because I wanted to paint white.
Yeah, no. It's fine. I think they're
issues with,
I think they're both good from like a gameplay perspective. I just think Valorous Heart doesn't buff the Repentia as well.
Right.
So there's
I wasn't even gonna pick up Sister Repentia because that wasn't on my list of like things I was going to get. I was more interested in the Battle Sisters. And then I played Sisters Repentia in Kill Team, and I became a convert very quickly because in Kill Team they are a blender.
Was that a pun, your convert?
Oh, did I accidentally pun?
Maybe.
I'm sorry. I don't know. That I feel dirty. I can't take a break to take a shower though.
So there's a bunch of bunch of stratagems that really complement the Repentia. Judgment of the Faithful. They get to fall back and charge, which is more fall forward and charge really. Extremist Trigger Word. This is for flagellants. It lets them make maximum attacks at the expense of possibly being slain. Like the unit basically rolls a dice for each model in the unit, and on a 6 they're just dead.
I think that's how it works. If I'm running Flagellants, I mean they're going to. I'm going to run that one.
Yeah.
Just They die. That's their job.
Yes, I'll take 3 attacks per model, and I don't know. I think if they're next, I think they get the buff from the priest too, because I think they're Ministorum. I think.
Well, I've got Thaddeus. I've got Thaddeus. I've got a priest.
Yeah, yeah. You got Tad the fat Taddy.
Yeah. Hey man, he's got the Pope hat.
Mm-hmm.
Space Pope forever.
Desperate for Redemption. This is 3 command points, but it allows a unit of Penitent Engines, Mortifiers, or Repentia to fight again.
Ooh.
Anytime you fight again, especially if you have plus 100 attacks.
Yeah.
They get so mad. Holy Rage is 1 CP, lets the infantry charge even if they advanced.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Repentia really appreciate that one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be bad. Okay.
Final Redemption, 1 command point. Repentia roll a d6 when a model in their unit is destroyed on a 4+. They get to deal a mortal wound back.
Yeah, I can do that.
They get very angry. That might be a good one if you're fighting. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. Kill them. Yeah. Kill them all. It's only 1 command point. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So that's really the in-book rules that I kind of pulled out to represent this kind of gameplay or this kind of army. I try not to make it go through the rules type thing. It's more of a pointing out the things that work well for this theme, for a themed army that's based on this theme. So next, let's talk about a scenario that I wrote for this. Do you want to? I didn't totally flesh it out, right? But I didn't really have time. But I will do that when we release this in a few days.
Okay.
Do you want to start with the pre-ramble there?
Yeah. Okay. So we have the Echoes of War scenario, Rewards of Repentance, Consequences of Sin. On a lost world on the edge of the Cicatrix Maledictum, the Sororitas are set to make one final push into enemy territory. Meanwhile, the forces of chaos seek to corrupt the crypt of the penitent and stop the tolling of the Bell of the Saved. The forces of chaos must not be allowed to defile this holy site and complete the ritual they've been orchestrating for months. As such, the sisters are committed to throwing themselves into the meat grinder at all costs. Every Repentia stationed here sees this as an incredible opportunity for absolution.
I fully recommend everybody who does this actually gets a bell to put in a ruin so that there could be a literal bell.
I have a cowbell.
That works. I have a really annoying bell that I actually used it in my current D&D campaign. There's a spell called Alarm, and one of the requirements for the spell is a small silver bell. So
is that a Christmas tune?
When they tripped the alarm, I actually pulled it from behind the DM screen and rang it really loudly. It was pretty great. Anyways, so the armies for this scenario are each player must first muster an army from their collection using the language of the Games Workshop scenario. Attackers' forces consist of various Adeptus Sororitas and Adeptus Ministorum units, but 50% of their power must be either Penitent Engines, Repentia, Mortifiers, or Arcoflagellants. The Defenders' forces are best represented by either Khorne or Slaanesh units, both mortal and demon.
Okay. Alright, so the battlefield. Players take it in turn placing terrain. The defender places 3 ruins on their half of the battlefield, while the attacker places 3 woods in their half of the battlefield. After that, players take turns rolling a dice. On a 4-up, God, that's so hard to say. you heard me pause as I was saying
gotcha.
dice.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's like, okay. On a 4-up, they must place one additional piece of terrain of their choice. On a 1 to 3, they may no longer place any more terrain. Oh, that's mean. That's mean. Okay.
So yeah, they're just randomly placing more terrain, but if the moment you roll a 1 to 3, you have to stop while your opponent gets to place more and more.
Yeah, that's the Mortat thing. Okay, one last thing. After terrain has been set up, the defender places one objective per 500 points or 25 power level in their deployment zone.
Right. So the bigger a game you play, the more objectives there will be.
Yeah.
So for deployment, the defender sets up their army within their deployment zone. Then the attacker sets up their units within their deployment zone. The attacker may set up units using the reserve narrative play special rule. The deployment zone that I had in mind for this was the defender getting the whole long battlefield edge with kind of just a little bit more room,
right? Maybe
like 3 more inches, and then the attacker is set up kind of in a wedge formation, so they have this vanguard. Where the reason for that is the like the Repentia and the Penitent engines and stuff would be running ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, in
kind of a vanguard deployment, and then all the other models would be behind them,
Yeah, that
was my thought. In the first turn, the attacker gets to go first, or must go first.
Okay. All right, so Call of the Damned. I like that. Units of Penitent engines and Repentia may return to play using the Sustained Assault narrative play special rule, which I think that's cool. Yeah, they just keep that. Was it a unit is destroyed, then it comes back immediately?
Yeah, I think it's on a 4+.
Oh.
They'll come back, and they have to be set up within 6 inches of their deployment or their battlefield edge.
That works for me. I like that. All right. Repentance. So turn one of your miracle dice either up or down one number, whenever a unit of Sisters Repentia or Penitent engines takes 1 or more casualties in the combat phase. Okay. Yeah, the miracle dice are such a fascinating mechanic. I think I really like the idea. I haven't done it yet, but we have that in Blackstone, and it's such a fun way to play.
Right. Yeah, doing dice turning and dice pools is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like dice pools, and it might give me a reason to buy, or make other Masters of the Forge type dice. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later. All right, so Demoralizing Treachery. Whenever an Adeptus Sororitas unit fails a morale check, no. The controlling player must discard one of the miracle dice with the highest face value. If that unit was a Sister Repentia unit, they must discard their 2 highest miracle dice. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So basically, they'd fail the check, we'd go through, give up the dice, and they wouldn't lose anybody. So
no, they would lose them.
Oh.
You just also lose miracle dice for that.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, cool. That's terrible, but they have a pretty high morale, if I remember correct. Well, the higher leadership, so
just die to a woman, like just die, and don't worry. You don't take a miracle. You don't take a morale check if you're dead.
That's right. Let's take those MSUs. All right.
So the next one is Flesh for the Engines. Uh-huh. Keep track of all the Adeptus Sororitas models that flee during every morale phase.
Okay.
For each model, roll a dice at the end of the game. On a 4+, the Adeptus Sororitas player may add a Penitent engine to their army for free in the next game. Add a 2+2 to this roll and add a Mortifier instead if a Penitent engine is... instead of a Penitent engine, if that model was a Sister Repentia's model. So if a Repentia flees, it's turned into a Mortifier. If one of the other sisters flees, it's a Penitent engine on a 4+ or a 2+, respectively.
That's interesting. That's cool. This means you have to go buy some Mortifiers and Penitent engines, but hey,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, why not?
The next rule is Bloodshed. This one's for Well, anyways, for each Adeptus Sororitas slain during the battle, not counting those who fled in the morale phase, the Adeptus Sororitas player gains 1 spirit point. At the end of the movement phase, the Adeptus Sororitas player may summon a single unit of Vengeful Spirits with a number of models equal to the number of spirit points in their pool. So you lost 10 sisters, you get a unit of 10 Vengeful Spirits. These spirits must be deployed wholly within 12 inches of another Adeptus Ministorum unit and not within 9 inches of enemy models. So they're there.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. In the last campaign book, it was represented by a stratagem and it just did mortal wounds. I thought it would be cool to do something like the spirits actually show up and fight as models.
Right.
I actually borrowed some Nighthaunt models from a friend, from Archidan, actually.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping to get a game in, but we had some, Quinn was ill this week. I had to skip gaming.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It happens. So, I was thinking Nighthaunt models are not hard to get. And if you just have a few, you gotta get a few units because they came in that starter box. So I thought, I want to use this rule later on. I want to try it again later in another scenario, as Psychic Awakening goes forward. Now, that's assuming Games Workshop doesn't just do the same thing, which would be great.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So for the Chaos player, for each model slain, I won't read this out. It's basically allows you to summon demons in a similar way.
Yeah.
Either for Khorne or Slaanesh, depending on who takes wounds and stuff. You want to do our scoring and stuff?
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So scoring and victory conditions. Let me see. Players score 3 points for each objective they control by the end of the game, and 1 point for each enemy unit destroyed, not counting Repentia, Penitent Engines, Arcoflagellants, or Mortifiers.
Yeah, their lives were forfeit anyways. You don't get points for that.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, come on, guys. Whatever. Get it together. All right, battle length. During each battle round, the bell of the saved tolls. Yeah. And the spirits of the dead rise to fight again. The bell will only toll 6 times before damnation overtakes the losing army. Ooh, so basically 6 rounds. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Ooh, I do like that. Okay, anyways. Attacker stratagems. So, Path of Destruction, 1 command point. The damned soul of a mortifier focuses on a particular enemy as her engine begins to fail her. Use a stratagem after determining if a mortifier will lash out with the anguish of the unredeemed. That model may move 3d6 as if it had the fly keyword before dealing its mortal wounds. That's cool. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. So she's about to explode, and she's like, I'm gonna kill all this stuff over here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Next up is Clarion Call, which is 1 command point. Those members of the Ministerium seeking absolution have flocked to the battle in search of bloodshed in the name of the Emperor. Use this stratagem when you would roll for sustained assault. There we go. Assault. The unit automatically arrives instead. Oh, so basically for 1 command point, you don't have to roll anything.
Yep.
It just shows up.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that being a lot easier to deal with.
Right.
And then Rampage, 1 command point. With their ultimate goal in sight, the tortured souls of the Ministorum cannot be held back. Use the stratagem at the start of the movement phase. Pick 1 unit of Penitent Engines or Mortifiers. They, and all Adeptus Ministorum units within 6 inches of them, may advance plus 3d6 when they move this turn instead of d6. If they do, they must move that full distance directly towards the nearest enemy model, taking the path of least resistance to achieve that. Come at me, bro.
So the defender, that was I think that's the weakest one of the group, but it's cool.
I don't know. That seems like it'd be fun. I mean, maybe if it was also added to the Sisters Repentia were also added to it. But,
right.
Yeah. That might make them way overpowered.
Yeah. So we have defenders. Yeah, especially the Repentia can do the advance and charge thing.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
It would be really good. So Defender Stratagems, deepening futility for 3 command points. The ritual's resonance has caused a powerful discord with the pealing of the Bell of the Saved. Use this stratagem at the end of a battle round when all of the objectives are held by the defender. But in any battle round but the first or the 6th, reduce the battle length by 1 battle round. So the longer the battle goes, the more likely it is the attacker is going to win. So this allows the defender to actually reduce the battle length for 3 CP, but only if they're holding all of the objectives. Take them alive for 1 command point. The Chaos Warlord knows their enemy all too well. Rather than allow them the succor of absolution, they will go through great lengths to capture rather than kill their sororitas foes.
Ta-da.
Use this stratagem in either the fight phase or the morale phase when a unit of Repentia or Penitent engines is destroyed within 6 inches of one of your own units. Also remove from play one of your units that was within 6 inches of one of the destroyed units. It's representing them escorting them off the board, capturing them. Your opponent does not score points for killing the unit you removed. You score 1 victory point instead.
Ooh.
Because you captured them alive.
Yeah.
Normally you don't get VP for killing Repentia.
Right.
But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this way you capture them. Excruciating Slaughter for 2 command points. The violence wreaked across the battlefield has thinned the veil between the Materium and the Immaterium. Use this stratagem at the start of the battle round. During this battle round, whenever you would gain a blood point or pain point, you gain 2 instead.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So, the only thing that irks me about this scenario are the victory conditions. I wanted to put something for the victory conditions.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, you really should think of the narrative instead of worrying about points and stuff.
Right.
So the bell's going to toll every round. At the end of every round, right? And the game length is 6 rounds. And it's really all about who's holding those objectives after the last bell tolls.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So really, that's really what you should be concerned about when you're playing this scenario and seeing what happens in the next game.
Yeah. All right. You want to go with the I'll go with the new stratagems.
These are just new stratagems. These have nothing to do with the scenario that we just talked about.
Oh, so these are new stratagems just for the Repentance. All right. Yeah. So our first one up is Seraphs, which is 1 command point. Some psychic blanks are too unruly to be counted on in more nuanced roles. As such, these unfortunate individuals are augmented with all the trappings of an archoflagellant and seconded to an inquisitor or some other high-ranking official. Use this stratagem before the game begins. Select 1 unit of the archoflagellants to gain the following. Faceless Soul, so all models within 6 inches of this unit suffer -2 to their psychic checks. In addition, all models within 6 inches of this unit enjoy a +2 to deny psychic powers. Crushing Reality. Models may not take invul saves against attacks made by Seraph. I like this. I do like this quite a bit. This would be really nice in like the kill team stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I think, the Crushing Reality one, it's basically like most, if not all invuln saves in game, in this game are based on warp powers or harnessing the warp in some way, like a void shield or whatever. And the Seraph just doesn't care about that.
No.
Now, I would almost say, if you're playing your narrative games and you're, the Seraph is fighting a, what do they called? The Eldar clowns.
Oh, the Harlequins.
The Harlequins invuln save is based entirely on their dodging. So I would, use your narrative best thing there, best judgment there. So the next stratagem is Holy Unwashed Masses for 1 command point. As the Psychic Awakening tears across the galaxy, it is not just the forces of the ruinous powers who have seen a rise in otherworldly abilities. Those faithful to the God Emperor have also been witness to miracles of faith. Use this stratagem before the game begins and select 1 unit of conscripts to gain the Shield of Faith ability. So they get a 6-up invuln. Mm-hmm. In addition, the unit becomes a Psyker and knows the Smite power. They manifest and deny 1 psychic power per turn.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think, you could... I think there's more play here with the Psychic Awakening and the priests and stuff.
Right.
I hesitate to do any more special rules on that because I really feel like Games Workshop is going to start rocking that out pretty soon.
Yeah, that's, I think that's kind of why we've been hesitant on putting together stuff, like extra things, just because lately they keep just doing more and more stuff. I think there was a time we started putting some together, then all of a sudden the Psychic Awakening was called, and it was like, oh, hold on. Oopsies.
Yeah. Well, that's all we've got for new rules for this episode. But it's been a while since we did some new narrative rules or given you some narrative. We've always given you narrative ideas, but
we've tried.
We've tried anyways. But some new rules for you. We'll have those up as a PDF when we release the episode. So why don't we take a quick break and come back and close out the show.
Hey Archons, tired of the boring predictability and efficiency of stuff that always works? You need the Slip Party Bus! Got an extra 473 points that you can't find a solid use for? You need the Slip Party Bus! You could spend 420 points on 3 reliable Lance Ravagers pumping out 9 Darkland shots per turn. That'll only give up 3 victory points, or you can drop 473 points on 2 Archons, 8 Slip, and a Raider for 11 victory points. You need the Slip Party Bus! The classic Slip Party Bus. Still awesome. Party Bus! Still hilarious. Party Bus! It's the Slip Party Bus! If you love the Slip Party Bus, you'll want to check out our other exciting products. We have the Rack Wiffle Ball Bat, the Trueborn, and the Blood Bride. Trueborn and Blood Bride models no longer available. The classic Slith Party Bus. Still awesome. Still hilarious. It's the Slith Party Bus!
Hey mofos, are you looking for more Warhammer 40k video content? Well, the Scarred Cast posts regular battle reports as well as tactics and strategy videos. Be sure to check out all the cool hobby content for the avid tabletop wargamer. That's Scarred Cast, Skared on YouTube.
This is David Annandale, and you're listening to Masters of the Forge, where they bring the world of Warhammer 40,000 to life on your tabletop.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Masters of the Forge. Hopefully we'll see a bunch of you at Adepticon.
Yep.
Let us know if you are coming. So we got the Discord channel and stuff, and we are at the Facebook. So, let us know if you contact us through those things if you're going to Adepticon, and we'll meet you, and Jason will give you a dice or a die. It's up to him. Next episode, we're going to be talking about our Thousand Sons and Drukhari army narratives. So we're going to write up narratives for our armies.
Yeah.
I've already picked my rules that I'm using for them, but
I gotta get on that. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to stick to this. It's just a thought experiment. It's a thought experiment that lets you. That'll be like, okay, so what's the story for these guys? All right, what rules go with that story? Or what in the rules inspired me to make up a story too?
Right.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I do have something very specific in mind. And so it'll be an interesting episode because it'll be just like talking about a lot of personal narrative stuff, and then stories and characters, and then some rules that have to do with that. So that sounds like fun, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean,
sounds like a lot of work.
I've got a lot of pain to do before Adepticon. Well, everything's base coded, which for Thousand Suns is like, yeah, so.
Right?
Yeah, so.
Congratulations,
you haven't got the gold
jerk.
yet, huh? Go bust up that gold Sharpie, right, Carl? So
awesome.
Yeah, so that's, but I got that. I got it together. I'll get it figured out. Yeah.
All right, cool. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge. And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
You can also contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor. Thanks again for listening.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Podod of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.